this is really this is really weird. This is really weird coming back and making a video. Who knows if this is going to see the light of day. Yeah, I just fancied picking up the camera today. So hello, it's Eleanor, and I thought I would make a video today. I think it'll be quite a chatty one, talking about where I've been, things that have happened in my life, what I'm reading. Yeah. Okay, so firstly, the elephant in the room. I disappeared for ages, and I can't really say that there's a particular reason for that. I think I just didn't want to make videos, and I wasn't going to force myself, and I wasn't feeling the sense of community that I'd felt before, and the friends that I had made on BookTube and that have continued outside. I still see my friend Tracy from Flamingo Reads regularly. We chat and Skype twice a week and read, and we're doing a reading challenge together, which I will come to in a bit. We do constant reading challenges, which I really enjoy. And I just felt like I never got many comments on my videos, and the interaction wasn't there, and I didn't feel the need to document my reading so much like that anymore. You know, the main reason I came on BookTube was for the conversation and for chatting to people, and that wasn't happening anymore. So I'm dipping my toe back in now, and I'll see what happens. I see how I feel. I might occasionally come on here and chat. I might get back into it more regularly. I think I just have to see how I'm feeling and how things are going. So personally, not a lot has changed. I still have my wonderful husband and daughter and dog. Maybe I'll show you him in a minute. He is a proper rascal, little Ron. I was diagnosed at the end of last year with autism, so that was quite a big thing at 41. I think that was quite a good thing to go through. I'm happy to talk a bit more about that if anybody's interested, about why I did it. But it has definitely given me a bit more of a sense of peace about myself, and allows me to forgive myself for certain things that made me feel like I was odd or strange or different. So that's been good. Yeah, it's funny talking to the ether. So let me tell you a bit more about my reading. I'm doing this challenge with Tracy. I make a little, it's like a book journal, but I am not arty, so I fill my book journal with either other people's creations, you know, like I buy sticker things from people's channels, or well, that's basically it, or I sometimes create my own and print them off. But I'll show you, there's an amazing creator called Creating & Co. She's got a website called Creating & Co. I'll link it down below, and she does like yearly reading challenges. So this is the start of the one that I'm doing for this year, but she this year's sort of theme is reading royalty, and throughout the year I've bought this special sticker. She does seasonal challenges, and then she also does additional ones. So for example, this is the 2023 reading challenge, and so there's prompts for you to fill out, and then you do you write your books in for the prompts, and then there's stickers which when you've completed a prompt you stick onto the bookshelf. And I just really love that way of tracking. It works for me. It's a bit of a challenge. I don't tend to specifically read books for those challenges. I just, as I'm filling in other things, if a book I've read fulfills that prompt, then I click it in, and then towards the end of the year, if I haven't done any, I tend to fill it in then. But the challenge I'm doing with Tracy this time, we've done loads of challenges. We make our own readathons all the time. We just finished like a Strictly Come Dancing themed one, and the current one is our current session. We watch Love is Blind together. Every time a new series comes out, we watch it together and chat about it, and it's sort of a bit of a guilty pleasure, that type of reality show. So we've created a reading challenge based on that. So what we do, I'll show you my first one. So the first round, there's going to be 3 rounds and we're still in the first round, but for the first round we picked 10 5 women? No, 10 women and 10 men from the seasons that had already been. So at that point there'd only been 2 seasons, not 3. So we picked our favourite 10 men and 10 women, and then we also well, let me talk you through that. So at the beginning of each round you pick blindly a woman and a man, and then that is your couple that you're working with. You then roll a dice, like we use an online dice, and that gives you a number, and that is how many words have to be on the front cover of one of your books. And then we also have like a yes or no, like do they like each other, do they not like each other, and there's a prompt for each of those. So so you've got your couple and each of them has a prompt. So for example here, our first couple, I don't know if you can see him, his is featuring a crime and hers was a South Asian author. So I picked them as a couple, so I had to do a book that featured a crime, a book with a South Asian author. I then rolled a dice and got 6, so I had to come up with a book with 6 words in the title. And then from the yes or no, I picked a yes. Now, if you pick a yes, it's a comfort read, and if you pick a no, it's an intimidating read. So you do that every time. So every time you pick a different couple, you roll the dice and you pick yes or no. If the books you read get more than 16 overall, so you need to get at least 4 stars for each, or you know, a couple of 5s and some others, then they go into the next round, which we haven't started yet. We're working our way through the couples. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've done 8 of the 10 couples, and only 2 so far are progressing into the next round. Which will be the same as the next round really in Love is Blind, where they go away for a holiday and then they come back and they're sort of living together. So there's prompts for different things to do with that. So I'm excited. So those 2 couples so far, if they're the only 2 that go through and no more do, they'll go to round 2 and so on and so forth. And we'll see if any of them get married at the end. Who knows? So it's just a really nice way of picking a TBR, and often like readathons tend to be, I know you meant to set the readathons for how you want to do them, but if a readathon has 7 prompts, I'm going to try and do 7 prompts. And it also doesn't always fit with my life and what's going on to be able to do it in the week that the readathon's on, or the month the readathon's on. And a month is a long time for me, so if I then pick a TBR for that, I don't want to read those books by the time that I've started reading. So because you're only picking 4 books for every little stage of this, it feels quite fresh all the time. You pick your 4 books, you read those 4 books, and then you get to pick another little mini so it's like a little mini TBR pick really. So I really love that. So I'm working my way through those. So that's my main challenge, and then I'm doing some little stickery challenges that I've found along the way. So let me tell you so far this year about the 5-star books that I've read. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't want this to be a long video, because you'll all find it really boring. But let me tell you, I've had 6 5-star reads already this year, which for me is really good, because last year I think I probably had 6 in the whole year. So I think that stems from really honing in on what I like a bit more and just allowing myself to read that. Like I think every single person on BookTube, I have become more interested in romance reads. I'm still reading science fiction and fantasy. I still read a bit of YA. I read a lot of graphic novels, especially because my daughter is obsessed with graphic novels. And I still read non-fiction. Not so much literary fiction, but occasionally literary fiction and contemporary fiction. But really, those are the genres I'm reading in. So let me go and gather the books that I've given 5 stars, and then I'll tell you briefly a little bit about them. Okay, so I've picked some of them up, and I've picked all of them up apart from one, which I don't have a physical copy of, and that one I'm not going to talk about because it is one of the BookTube prize books that I was judging for this round, and I don't want to talk about it, and we're not meant to talk about them until the round has been released. So I'll tell you about the 5 that I have given. 2 of them are romance, 1 is a middle grade, 1 is a YA fantasy, and the other is a YA contemporary. So let's start with the YA contemporary. and that is Agency for Scandal by Laura Wood. It's no surprise for me that I gave this one 5 stars. I've given every one of Laura Wood's books a really high rating. I love her books. I think they're great, and what I love about them the most is that they always have surprised me, because generally in YA I don't tend to go for the sort of historical contemporary fiction, and yet these just are so good. This one is possibly my favourite. They've all been quite evocative in where they're set, the time period they're set in, but this one, I think it's sort of Victorian England. I'm not sure if we're given an actual date. Oh no, we are given a date. Let's have a look. 1897. And this reminds me, and I think it's blurbed somewhere, it's like a cross between Enola Holmes and, oh, what else? Bridgerton, maybe. Yeah, Enola Holmes and Bridgerton. So we have our main character. Her name's Isabel, and she's come on hard times. It's her and her mum. Her mum is sort of ailing and sick quite a lot and in her bed, and it's down really to Isabel to try and run the household. Her brother's away at boarding school, her younger brother, and there's no money. And how does a young lady get money in those days? You know, if she's trying to get money, really you just had to get married, because there wasn't any other option. However, Isabel doesn't want to get married, and certainly doesn't want to get married for money, and so she has discovered a way to do that for herself. She's joined this secret agency of ladies who go out there and help women in need, where there is, you know, where a woman's being mistreated, or a woman is not being treated fairly, or something is happening and they need help. They go to this group of women who will, you know, find out what's going on, get the proof, and help to sort of almost blackmail the men into giving these women what they deserve. So I really loved it. It's just really fast paced, it's really fun, there's a really nice romance in there. I love the cover, and the spine of this is absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, so that was a 5 star. Then the middle grade I read, which was a 5 star, was Amari and the Night Brothers. I know this was read by a lot of people last year. This is by B.B. Alston. This I just think is brilliant. It's got great representation. We have a black main character, and there is such a wide array of magical, mystical creatures within this book. Amari's brother has gone missing. He's her older brother, and she always sort of idolised him and looked up to him. She knew he wouldn't disappear. He was super genius clever. He left school and joined something that was a bit secret he didn't talk about. They assumed it was something, you know, like the MI5 or CIA type thing. And so they haven't really asked questions, but he has gone missing, and she's determined to find out why. And at the start of this book, she is contacted by her brother in some way, not specifically him in person, and she discovers that this whole other world existed that she didn't know about, that includes like dragons and vampires and shapeshifters and people with all sorts of amazing abilities. And there's this whole other magical world where they are tasked with looking after, a bit like sort of the Men in Black style. So there's different departments, and much with these type of books, and the ones that I love the most, there is some sort of academy training facility where you have to sort of make it through, and that's what we're following. She's gone in there with the task of trying to discover what happened to her brother, but along the way she needs to sort of carry on with this sort of training program in order to gain access to the things she wants. This was brilliant. The second book is out, and the third is out I think the year after, so I'm waiting for the second one to come out in paperback, and then I'm definitely going to get that too. So I definitely recommend this if you like Nevermore, you like Harry Pottery type things. I definitely think that this is well worth a read. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about the YA fantasy I read, and this is A Magic Steeped in Poison by Judy Lynn. This was one I picked up on a whim when I was last at Forbidden Planet in London, and it really excelled all my expectations. We're following our main character Ning, and she is able to complete sort of small magical feats through the brewing of tea. So it's this traditional tea making idea, but through using specific things she's able to control certain things or influence things, and there is a whole sort of group of people that do this, and her sister has become really ill. Her mother has died from a poison that's sort of spreading through the land, and she's unable to find a cure. Her dad, who is a doctor, is unable to sort of cure her. They live in this sort of small town in the middle of nowhere. So she decides to go to take part in this sort of tea makers, this tea person's competition, and if she manages to complete it, you can ask her for one wish from the princess. And there's a rumour that the princess has this stone that allows you to have a wish for whatever you want, and she's hoping she'll be able to cure her sister, or at least she'll be able to find the cure for her sister while she's there. But as with all these things, there's political unrest. The emperor has been poisoned and he is dying, and you're not quite sure what's going on and who's controlling who, and she doesn't know who her friends are. She doesn't want people to know, because her mum was quite a famous tea maker who left the palace under sort of unusual circumstances, and it's just really good. I loved the magical sense in it. I really loved the tea making idea. It was something I hadn't seen before. I loved the characters, the character development. The writing style was really easy to read and really flowed. Unfortunately, literally yesterday I read the second book, because it's a duology, and it wasn't my favourite. So I gave this one 5 stars because I was blown away. But unfortunately in the second book there isn't as much of the sort of tea making and the magical side, which I was really hoping for. It was much more, I was explaining to Tracy yesterday, that this one is much more of that sort of competition, academy, training, getting to the next round sort of book, which I love. And then the second one is more of a journey. So it's more of the journey and pulling together the bits you need to fight the bad guy, and it didn't work quite as well for me. I did enjoy it, but the second one, it's called a Venom, hold on, it's here, a Venom Dark and Sweet. Aren't they beautiful together though? I only gave 3 stars, which was a bit of a shame because the first one had been so good. I do still think that overall the duology is worth a read, and I definitely think that perhaps the second one will appeal to people that like a slower, more character developed story. So I think it's definitely worth a read. Okay, and then the final 2 are romance books. I, like most of anybody that reads romance on BookTube, I'm a bit obsessed with Lucy Score. I've now read 3 Lucy Score books, and they've all been 5 stars. This is the only one that I've read this year though, so it's the one I'm going to talk about, and that's called By a Thread. And this was such a good book. We're following our main character, Dominic, not Dominic, because that's the man. What's her name? Oh, how annoying that. Ali. She's our main character. She's working like a bazillion jobs. There's something going on in her home life, which means she really needs the money. She's had to quit the job she was doing, move to a different place. And one night, this grumpy bloke comes into the pizzeria she's working at and treats her really poorly. And she's feisty. She's not going to let that stand. Consequently, he ends up getting her fired from the job. But he's at the restaurant with his mum, who is a very famous ex-model come media mogul now and owns the company that he works at. And this woman sees her afterwards at the bus stop and she offers her a job. And so the two are forced into this sort of close proximity. She challenges him. She sort of starts to uncover why he's so grumpy. And there's just this really fun bantery relationship that goes on, and obviously a romance, some steamy times, as with all Lucy Score books, but at the heart of it a really good message, and a message about family, the things that you would do for family. And yeah, I loved it. That was really a well worth 5 star. And then the other one was one I've only read a couple of days ago, and if I'm honest, I was put off by this front cover. I really don't like the front covers that have got like half naked men on, because they make me feel like the book is going to be cheesy, or there's not going to be any depth to it. And I think that's really underselling a lot of romance books, because they really do have a lot underneath the surface that often we don't notice, or maybe don't see because we're too distracted by the front cover. But this is called Say You Swear by Megan Brandy, and I would say that this in part reminded me of a very grown-up adult Summer You Turned Pretty, with a little bit of Candy Steiner's like Greek Row Greek series. I can't remember what it's called now. Palm University South or something. It was really good. Anyway, so we have 2 characters. Oh, you know, typical, you can't remember who the main characters are. We've got Ariana, who's Ari, and we have Noah. Now at the start of this, Ariana is in like a fivesome. She's got her older brother and his 2 best mates who all play American football, and then her and her best mate Cam. Cam's a little bit in love with Ari's brother, but we're not sure if that's going to go anywhere. And Ari is besotted with this boy in their group who she's loved for years. And there's been a bit of tension between them. They go, for their graduation, 5 of them, their parents all know each other, and they are all gifted an equal share in this beach house that they've had as kids. So they go there for the summer. Something happens and this boy breaks her heart, this one from the group, and then they all start this same university, but the boys are living in like a football house and the 2 girls are living on campus. The boys are super protective of them. They've never got to do anything, you know, they've never really spread their wings because the boys have always been like scaring any potential suitors off, scaring anybody away, really keeping tabs on them. And so this is their chance to sort of spread their wings. And she meets this other boy who plays football, is part of the football house. He's actually the sort of, what's it called? Not the captain of the football team. He's a senior, so it's his last year. And she starts to mend her broken heart slowly but surely. And he is such a sweetie. He really is. He waits his time. He becomes her friend. They share a friendship. He's really gentle with her emotions. He's really careful with her heart. And slowly they form this beautiful relationship. The boy that had broke her heart, that was a part of the group, it's all a bit frosty. And then the sort of story progresses from there. There's things that happen in it. There's that, of course, you know, I was crying at bits. We have a look at, there's strokes in here. There is car accident. There is all sorts of different sort of things going on. It's ups and downs and ups and downs. And you'd think it's about, how many pages is it? It's over 650 pages, and yet I read this in nearly a day and a half. It was such a quick read. It was really one of those books you just couldn't put down. I just couldn't stop reading it. So I definitely recommend that one if you're looking for a good romance. Yeah, I don't want to be chatting forever, but it was quite nice to come and chat about some books that I've really been enjoying. Maybe I'll come back when I've got some more 5-star reads, let you know how I'm doing. Before I go, let me show you some board games that I'm playing. This one is my favourite solo. It's not really a board, well, it's kind of like a puzzly board game. It's called Cantaloupe. This is the second part. I haven't opened this yet. I really need to concentrate. But it's amazing. You know those sort of point and clicks like Monkey Island that you played as a kid? So this is kind of it in a board game fashion. It is so good and well worth a read. A read? And well worth a play. So I'm saving this one because once I start playing I can't put it down, and I really need to concentrate, so I'm hoping to open this soon. And then I just love these, as I do play board games with the family, but one of the ones that I really like playing by my own or with other people is all the Unlock series. So I've currently got this one which I haven't opened. I've played all the others. This one, they've done game adventures, so they've based them on popular board games. So you've got Ticket to Ride, Mysterium and Pandemic, and this is like a I think you can see on the back, it's a card based escape room basically. So you're trying to unravel the mystery, putting things together, getting yourself to the next stage, trying not to lose points, and it's just so much fun. And it takes about an hour, so it's a perfect sort of playing an evening, or you've got an hour and that's something that you can do for the hour to play. So yeah, that is what I am looking forward to playing. So it was nice to make this video, and maybe I will make another one. Oh, let me get the dog and he'll help me say goodbye. I've been informed the dog's gone on a walk, so I'll put a picture in here of, you know, what he normally looks like, the current state of affairs, or here or somewhere. Yeah, and hopefully I'll come back and chat to you soon. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and checking in with me, and I'll speak to you all soon.